Hello everybody. Right, what I thought I'd do is a worked example of revising and a worked example of redrafting in case you're not sure or you've forgotten how either of those kind of look like. All right, so apologies for the dodgy lighting, my dodgy board. I'm going to try and do the best with what I've got. All right, so if we start with revising. Revising is kind of, I'd say, probably the more simple aspect of this. And this is just correcting and editing things like your punctuation, your spellings, your grammar, etc. And I'd say the best thing to do with this is, if you can, make yourself either use a ruler to go through a line at a time or make yourself one of those editing windows we've spoken about before so that you can look at it kind of individually. Okay, so if we start on this first sentence, as she looked around the dome, Florida began to feel incredibly worried. Okay, so the sentence in itself sounds like it makes sense. I've got my capital at the beginning. As she looked around the dome. Now, if I look at dome, that doesn't quite look right. That's how I'd spell foam, but I'm thinking it's probably a different string of letters that would make that sound. All right, so I could use a dictionary or I can test it out. I think, what about if I use a split diagraph with the E? Yes, that looks better now. So sometimes just writing it out can help us see that. She looked around the dome. Florida. Now, this is a big one. I know it's a really simple thing, and I know you must be bored of me saying about it, but lots of us, I think, particularly when we're in the flow of writing, we forget that for a name we need a capital letter. So make sure you check, have you included capital letters for your names, for your places, all that kind of thing. Florida began. Again, I must have been writing this in a rush because looking back now, I can see I don't need that second G. In fact, I'll write it above just to double check. But yeah, began, that's much better as it is. Began to feel incredibly, again, God, I've got a double one here. So I can see that I don't need that extra D. All right, so incredibly worried. Now, the next thing that I can see is missing, I've forgotten my comma for my complex sentence. If I've got a conjunction at the start, it needs to go in the middle. So as she looked around the dome, comma, if I read it out loud, I can hear where that pause needs to go. Okay, and then this next one, hopefully you'll be able to see what the problem is straight away. Her heart beating quickly was thumping through her chest. I've got an embedded clause there. The problem is I haven't put my commas in the right place. Where do the commas go? The commas go around the embedded clause. What's the extra information? That it was her heart was beating quickly. So put my comma either side. Her heart, beating quickly, was thumping through her chest. There's one more marvellous mistake. Can you see what it is? This is a slightly trickier one. This goes back to what we were doing about homophones back in term 1. So instead of through like that, it's the through with the O-U-G-H. Okay, so edited there. That's my just revising and looking for those mistakes and corrections I need to make. Now, redrafting, I'm not sure if you can see this. I'm really sorry. Let me see if I can. No, I'll leave it where it is. I think, yeah, you can just about see. So redrafting is where I take a section of writing and I rewrite it again to make improvements. It might be that I'm up-leveling my vocabulary that I'm using. It might be that I'm changing the sentence structure. So if we look, we've got two sentences that make perfect sense as they are. She looked around the dome and felt worried. And then I've also got her heart was thumping through her chest. Both fine, both make sense, but both could be improved. Okay, so with this starting one of the things that I know I suggested as an improvement to lots of you was I space. Okay, changing our sentence starters around so that they're more varied and they're more exciting. So if I'm going to rewrite this, I might say something like, I might start with an ing from I space. So I might do glancing both ways. Glancing both ways. And then if it's an I space, what do I need afterwards? I need a comma. So glancing both ways. She looked around. Again, I might use, instead of looked, why don't I use a word like peered or something like that? So she peered around and felt. I could use worried, or I might want to upscale that, so I'm going to go for extremely anxious. She looked around, she peered around and felt extremely anxious. Would you agree that is probably a big improvement on that first one, isn't it? Then I've got her heart was thumping through her chest. So a bit like I did on the first one, I can think about perhaps getting an embedded clause here. So her heart, maybe I could add something like pounding at 1,000,000 miles an hour was thumping through her chest. Let's go for that. So, oh, maybe I can get another I space in. I might say something like pounding quickly or something like that, or quickly pounding. What about, I did an ing there, didn't I? So why didn't I get a different one? Oh, I know. I'm going to get a simile. I'm going to go like a drum. So like a drum, comma, her heart, and then I'm going to get my embedded clause in, pounding at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Comma, I need my comma there because if I take pounding at 1,000,000 miles an hour, the rest needs to make sense. So was thumping through her chest. Let me just read then my first two sentences, and then we'll read these second ones and see if they are actually an improvement. So, first sentence, she looked around the dome and felt worried. We've changed that to glancing both ways. She peered around and felt extremely anxious. That one sounds a bit better, doesn't it? And then for my next one, I've got her heart was thumping through her chest. We've changed that to like a drum. Her heart, pounding at 1,000,000 miles an hour, was thumping through her chest. So hopefully that's given you an idea on how you can do some revising, redrafting. Obviously you can choose perhaps a couple of individual sentences, or you can choose a paragraph or a box and go, right, I am going to absolutely dazzle Mrs. Elmore and Ms. Rutherford with my new upscaled version of this. Okay, so now you've had a look at that, you can go back to my video and see what the other extension activities we've got for you are. All right, see you later.